Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for joining. So I don't know how about the weather in other parts of India, wherever you are joining from, Bombay, Pune, Hyderabad. But in Bangalore, it's cloudy and it's raining. And it's so pleasant weather after so much of hot summer days. And today it was a very blissful, like I realized that the trees, they're so much having dust and looking so dry. But with today's rain and they were looking so fresh. Oh, there's a cyclone. Okay. Yeah. So thank you very much for joining. So today, yes, we have a special session. Like with all of your enthusiasm, we have been continuing consistently now so many months. Like we started in September, October, November, December, Jan, Feb, March, like 7 months now. And it's been always ever increasing bliss for all of us to have here all of your association and to continue these programs. And yes, especially last weekend, like we had the special session. It was a hybrid session. We talked about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we celebrated Gaur Purnima. Like those days are really special for us because we really observe completely ourselves to remember, to reflect the merciful nature of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, the dancing God, loving God, the Prema Purushottam Bhagavan, Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He's saying very nicely, Jai Gaura, say Krishna, say Jagannath. Like the same Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he is the same Krishna, he is Jagannath. And yes, he has come to deliver all of us, to remove our all our demoniac propensities within our heart. Okay. So, and we have today a special speaker, like His Grace Kartikeya Prabhu. We all have been waiting for him. So we wanted to organize this program a couple of weeks earlier, but Prabhuji was traveling. He was in Mayapur, Puri, really absorbing and taking mercy of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Lord Jagannath, and so on. But we are happy to have him here, and I don't think he needs any introduction in our congregation. We have been hearing, and the devotees have been hearing from him now for months, and we have been, so happy to have now Prabhuji, Kartikeya Prabhu. He has been our stalwart preacher in our ISKCON Whitefield, preaching hundreds and thousands of devotees, and especially has cultivated very nicely in our Balandur area. Especially his very focused, very sincere preaching effort that he has been doing over the last couple of years in the congregation, in the youth field, and in most importantly, mesmerizing YouTube videos. So we are thankful to have Prabhuji with us and to enlighten us, to share this, what exactly this Bhagavad Gita is all about. Yes, we have been hearing bits and pieces, but let's hear from the devotee who has spent now so much time every day being absorbed in Bhagavad Gita. So how to study Bhagavad Gita scrutinizingly, how to apply that Bhagavad Gita in our own life. So yes, Kartikeya Prabhu, we are handing it over to you for enlightening us.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
For everyone's information, Sudhir Gopal Prabhu is very, very senior to me, and I look up to him for various things. But then he's very kind enough, to invite me like this and honor me as a superior. And also, when it comes to knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, etc., it's he is the person. He has all the knowledge. I'm just a toddler in front of him. But then, yes, since he has ordered, to serve all of y'all, and I would like to take this opportunity to serve all of you by speaking on the topic that Prabhuji has given to me. So let us start. Now we'll recite Mangalacharan, and then a little bit I would like to speak on the importance of scrutinizing and studying Bhagavad Gita. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Namao Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatam Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So happy to be amongst all of you. I heard that most of you are following the Shloka Day videos, and to be very frank, these videos were made for the Gita course students because on the weekends, we were having different faculties giving classes on Bhagavad Gita, which we call it as Gita course. But during the entire week, we did not have any engagement for the participants. So I thought, let me take up this massive service of recording some 600 to 700 videos. Really, it was massive, but by the blessings of all my superiors, like Sudhir Gopal Prabhu and others, I could do some justice to this. But then during this entire project, obviously only 14 chapters I've recorded, still 4 more are remaining. During this entire project, one thing which I could understand and realize myself was the glory of Srila Prabhupada's contribution in our life and the amazing purports that Srila Prabhupada has given all of us. So before I get into Srila Prabhupada's purports and how to study them or whatever, I would like to speak something about why the faith on Bhagavad Gita has gone down when it comes to general public. When we go out to distribute Bhagavad Gitas on street, especially in December, we call it as December Marathon. So during that time, many people, no, I know this. No, I don't need this. This is out of fashion. Oh, there's a mythological book. Or some nonsense people will say. Why? And these people are not illiterate people who make these statements. These are very well educated people. So why they do this, or why they make such statements? Let's try to analyze this for another 5-10 minutes, and then we'll enter into one verse of Bhagavad Gita and try to understand the same. So I give a series of session, and one of them is called as Lost Wealth. So in that one part is the contribution of Britishers in our life, a very, very important part, which I would like to highlight here. I'll just display the screen. So contribution of Britishers. See, when it comes to Mughals, they were not very intelligent ones. They came, they broke the temples here and there, they forcefully tried converting people. But when it comes to Britishers, they were very intelligent. You know what they did? They were the ones who came and they intelligently analyzed, where are these Indians getting strength from? Because if we go back, some good 2-3 centuries back, now we'll see that how entire India was flourishing. No, not flourishing. It was fully flourished. Economically also, it was very stable. I was going through. I'm doing some research on this side. So the GDP and other things were huge. The contribution of India on the economic scale was huge. When it comes to on the scale, on the global scale. But then when the Britishers came, they were able to see all this. They were able to see that how the Indians are independent. And capturing them is very difficult. To making them slaves, to make them a dependent country is very, very difficult. So Mughals also found that, but they couldn't do much. 600 years, they did a lot of things in India. They looted India materially, but spiritually they couldn't touch because they couldn't understand the root of spirituality. They couldn't understand the root of the opulence of India. I was going through some of the documents, and there it was given that multiple times these Mughals, the kings, they came and they looted Mathura and various other temples, and they would find huge amount of opulence every time they come. I was just wondering where it was coming from. That's a mystery. But then Britishers, they didn't do anything by force. They analyzed very, very intelligently. They analyzed, and they found that the strength of Indians is all based on the Vedic scriptures. And the Vedic scriptures are written in Sanskrit language. So if we really want to capture them, if we really want to make them dependent country, then one thing that we have to do is break the backbone of the Indian spiritual culture. And that is the faith on the Vedic scriptures. They did a lot of things. They hired a lot of Indologists who did a lot of research on the entire Vedic scriptures, especially they mastered Sanskrit language. And after doing all that, they tried their best to replace the entire Indian education system at that time with whatever Western education system they had. Basically, what they did, they removed the language which is called as Sanskrit from the education system. They put English, and English is now the global language. And guess what? We also speak in English to give class. But then a very, very great disaster happened. And even now, if you see, Bhagavad Gita, when we start reading Bhagavad Gita, the Sanskrit verses, many times people say that, we don't understand these Sanskrit verses because we don't know Sanskrit. And the ones who learn Sanskrit now, they need to know some other language to know Sanskrit. Sanskrit is an independent language. We can just learn, just like that. But by the way, I also don't know much of it. It needs 12 years, to have a nice, intense study of the Sanskrit language. But now if you want to learn, then we need to have the tabular column. So say we know English. Then, we have Sanskrit on one side and then English on the other side. Bhavataha, on to you, and this, like we need to have like that to understand what these different words mean. This is what they did. They very systematically replaced the Sanskrit language with English. Very systematically, they replaced the Vedic text with various other Western texts. I would like to display one letter which Lord Macaulay, he writes to the British Parliament. This is in 1835. I have traveled across the length and breadth of India, and I have not seen one person who is a beggar, who is a thief. Such wealth I have seen in this country, such high moral values, people of such caliber, that I do not think we would ever conquer this country unless we break the very backbone of this nation, which is her spiritual and cultural heritage. And therefore, I propose that we replace her old and ancient education system, her culture. For if the Indians think that all that is foreign and English is good and greater than their own, they will lose their self-esteem, their native culture, and they will become what we want them, a truly dominated nation. So he was that person, Lord Macaulay. What he did was, he proved, obviously it was a concoction, but then he showed it, saying that all the Vedic text which is there, it is nothing but a work of fiction. So today, when we educated ones meet, and when we talk to each other about Mahabharata, Ramayana, or even Bhagavad Gita or whatever, so we use a word. Obviously, not we. Many other people now we have understood you're not supposed to use the word. So people, when they talk, they communicate, they interact, they use the word mythology, Ramayana, Mahabharata. Oh, I love mythology, Indian mythology, Indian mythology, whatever they call it as. Myth means something which didn't happen. But Lord Macaulay, he categorized the entire Vedic text into this category. So today, when educated people see Bhagavad Gita or any other Vedic text like Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, Ramayana, this word comes, mythology, because very nicely it is ingrained now. We are programmed by these Britishers. One very, very painful statement which Lord Macaulay makes. We must educate Indians in English so that we create a class of people who are Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, opinions, morals, and intellect. For this class, we will upgrade the dialects to the Western nomenclature. Now, we should give a loud applause to them because they are extremely, 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 to a very great extent, they are successful. When it comes to color, when it comes to our blood, we are Indians. But then when it comes to the opinions and ideas and other things, it's all become Western. So here comes the importance. Why people are suffering now? Why India has gone backward or whatever? Because we are not following the life manual, that is Bhagavad Gita. And why we are not following? Because systematically, the education system, which was replaced by the Britishers, systematically we have been programmed. Nicely brainwashing has been done, and now we are believing whatever Western is there, that is all best, and whatever Indian, it's second class. And trust me, after reading Bhagavad Gita, after talking to all the senior devotees and seeing in one's own preaching endeavors and seeing how transformation in the life of people happens after understanding Bhagavad Gita, applying various principles of Bhagavad Gita in life, we can understand that just by following this life manual, people can literally overcome many, many problems that they go through. This Bhagavad Gita is one such book which has got solutions to all the problems in life. So Britishers literally, they did this very, very horrifying, dangerous and disastrous work. But then, one devotee was sharing that it was very nice that Britishers went all around and they made English as the global language so that Srila Prabhupada could go around and preach in English. Yes. So here we see that Srila Prabhupada's contribution. Srila Prabhupada went to West, and then there he distributed Bhagavad Gitas. There he proved the glory of the principles of Bhagavad Gita, the glory of Bhakti. And then the same thing, Indians imported to India. Bhagavad Gita went out first and then it came back. And now it is, I was hearing the statistics from one devotee, 50 crore Bhagavad Gita have been distributed all over the world by devotees. 50 crore, more than that, I heard this 2 years back. So Srila Prabhupada's contribution in our life is, he gave us Bhagavad Gita as it is. And the speciality of Bhagavad Gita as it is, the book that all of us are using as textbook for our Gita course. This book, which Srila Prabhupada has given us, it has got many, many things. If we go deeper into each shloka, we'll understand that how Srila Prabhupada has presented Bhagavad Gita as it is. So the Shloka Day videos, I've been doing comparative study of Prabhupada's purports, then Baldev Vidyabhushan's purports, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purports. So they are our previous acharyas. And we see how Prabhupada has taken things from there, from the previous acharyas, and presented as it is in a very, very simple language. Very, very simple language. So any purport that we pick up, from Bhagavad Gita, we will see that how Srila Prabhupada's contribution, or how Srila Prabhupada has presented it for all of us. Like first, his scholarly presentation. And we'll see how scholarly he has presented. But then at the same time, it is very simple. Even a lame man, he can read. If he has no knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, he can read and he can understand first. Second, throughout Bhagavad Gita, we'll see that Srila Prabhupada has highlighted the importance of bhakti everywhere. This is one way of giving a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. So the essence of Bhagavad Gita is surrendering on to Krishna, 18th chapter, 66th shloka, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. So that shloka, Srila Prabhupada has taken and then he has presented in the purports throughout the Bhagavad Gita to emphasize the importance of bhakti. And the third thing that he has done is he has given us practical tips to advance in bhakti in our day-to-day life. So this is what Srila Prabhupada has done. And obviously there are many, many things we can go on and on to analyze Srila Prabhupada's purports. Now when we're reading this Bhagavad Gita, so the topic for today, scrutinizingly studying Bhagavad Gita. So if we have the books, we can open second chapter, shloka number 40. So we'll try to analyze this in another 10 minutes before we wind up. So here in this particular shloka, now let me directly start. I see it's already 5:24. Chapter 2, shloka 40. Neha vikrama nashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So we'll try to discuss the shloka. Now one important thing which I would like to request all of you to do is, since we are British products, yes, so we have to somehow make sure that the contamination which has gone inside us, in our minds, whatever contamination has gone, but because of the contamination what these people have put in, we have to cleanse all that. And it is described that the Sanskrit verses are very, very powerful. If we chant these shlokas, there was a great research that was done. There are different papers also available, that how by reciting the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita and shlokas of Sanskrit in general, there's a lot of change that happens, transformation that happens at the psychological and intellectual platform. Even if we don't understand the meaning, it is said, even if we don't understand the meaning, if we just recite the shloka, if we just memorize the shloka, what happens? Automatically, whatever contamination is there, that gets cleansed, because that is the power of the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. The first one, it is in Sanskrit, which is a very, very amazing language. It is called as the Devata Bhasha, or the language of the godly souls. And the second one is, it has been directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So you can imagine the verses directly coming from the lotus mouth of Sri Krishna. So when we memorize these shlokas and keep reciting again and again and again, what happens? Purification becomes very fast. So we'll be able to purify ourselves. We'll be able to remove the contamination from our mind. And this will help us to become very, very focused in our life, and especially in spiritual life. So how to memorize the shloka? There are different ways. I will just like to show or tell you all one of the ways which we use here in our ashram here in ISKCON Whitefield, and also various other places. Maybe I'll display the shloka here so that we can recite together. Okay, here it is. I said, there are different ways. We're just seeing one of the ways in which we can by heart the shlokas or memorize the shlokas. So this is the shloka that we're discussing. So what we do is, first line, we chant 3 times. Then second line, we chant 3 times. Third line we chant 3 times, and the fourth line we chant 3 times. This is the first go. In the second go, the first line and second line 3 times, and then the first 3 lines 3 times, and then the entire shloka 3 times. So like this, multiple times when we do, you will see that very easily you'll be able to by heart the shloka. I think we can do this, small activity. Please repeat after me. Neha Vikramanashosti. Neha Vikramanashosti.
Vikramanashosti.
Neha Vikramanashosti.
Neha Vikramanashosti.
Pratyavayo na vidyate.
Pratyavayo
na vidyate.
Pratyavayo na vidyate.
Pratyavayo
na vidyate. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya. Trayate mahato bhaya. Trayate mahato bhaya. Trayate mahato bhaya. I will recite the first line, then the first 2, then the first 3, and the entire shloka. Let's start again. Neha Vikramanashosti. Neha Vikramanashosti. Neha Vikramanashosti. Neha Vikramanashosti. Pratyavayo na vidyate. Neha Vikramanashosti. Pratyavayo na vidyate.
Neha Vikramanashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate.
Neha Vikramanashosti. Pratyavayo na vidyate.
Neha Vikramanashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate.
3 lines. Neha Vikramanashosti. Pratyavayo na vidyate. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya.
Neha Vikramanashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate. Svalpamapyasya
Neha Vikramanashosti. Pratyavayo na vidyate. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya.
Neha Vikramanashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate.
Neha Vikramanashosti. Pratyavayo na vidyate. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya.
Neha Vikramanashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate.
Entire shloka 3 times. Neha Vikramanashosti. Pratyavayo na vidyate. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya. Trayate mahato bhayat.
Neha Vikramanashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate
Neha Vikramanashosti. Pratyavayo na vidyate. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya. Trayate mahato bhayat.
Neha Vikramanashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate.
And one last time. Neha Vikramanashosti. Pratyavayo na vidyate. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya. Trayate mahato bhayat.
Neha Vikramanashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya prayate mahato
So we do this
bhayat.
multiple times. I'm sure memorizing shlokas will become very easy. There are many of our students, what they do is they write the shloka and they keep it in the pocket. And then whenever they get time, they remove and they start reading it. Especially when before COVID, a lot of traffic in Bangalore. So, as soon as there's a signal, they'll remove and then recite the shloka, keep it back, now start. So we can memorize the shlokas, and really it helps a lot. It has personally helped us a lot. And many of my superiors have told how it has helped them. And many of the students also tell how it has helped them. So let's see this shloka. In another 5 minutes, we'll try to wind up. So here, Srila Prabhupada has given word-to-word meaning, and he has also given the translation and purport. For every shloka, he does that. So we all can go through the word-to-word meaning. And just by reading this word-to-word meaning, what we have to do is, when we scrutinizingly try to study Bhagavad Gita, we try to read and understand the word-to-word meaning, and then we ourselves should try to get the translation of this particular shloka. Now it is said, Neha Bhikrama Nashosti. So no, there is not. Iha, in this yoga. Abhikrama, in endeavoring. Nashaha, that is loss. And Asti, there is. So the first line, second line, when we keep reading like that, so we have to try to find that, okay, what can be the translation? And then we go to the actual translation, and then we can read the translation. So that's how in Shloka Day videos also I explain first from the shloka, and then we go for the translation. So translation in this, it goes like this. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Now here there are various elements that we can various elements that we can first find out, and then we will see that those different aspects of the translation Srila Prabhupada is elaborating. Now see this, in this endeavor. So what is the endeavor that we're talking about? Srila Prabhupada is elaborating here. He says, activity in Krishna consciousness, or acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectation of sense gratification, is the highest transcendental quality of work. So what is the speciality of this endeavor? Srila Prabhupada is telling here that when we do activities for the benefit of Krishna, or basically the devotional service, this is actually the highest transcendental quality of work. And what happens when we do that? Even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. So now he's elaborating on there's no loss or diminution. So when we do any activity in bhakti, little also, what happens? So that time, whatever credits we get by practicing bhakti, there's no question of any loss. There's no question of any loss at any case. And it does not reduce in the quantity also. So that's what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here. But then, why this spiritual activity is like this? What makes it special from the material activity? Is material activity also the same? Here Srila Prabhupada is saying, any work begun on the material plane has to be completed. Otherwise, the whole attempt becomes a failure. Now, any activity that we do, if you want to get some result materially, we have to complete the work. Just like that, we cannot get it. But then, any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect even though not finished. The performer of such work is therefore not at loss even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. So you see, here Srila Prabhupada spoke about in this endeavor, in the first few lines. Then he's talking about there is no loss or diminution. He spoke about that. And then a little advancement on this path. What happens when the person has little advancement on this path? He also spoke about that. And then he's comparing that with the material activities. And now he's giving an example that what does it mean by there's no loss or diminution. Here he's saying 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results, so that the next beginning is from the point of 2%. Whereas in material activity, without 100% success, there is no profit. So what do we mean by no loss or no diminution? Is wherever we leave the activity, wherever we have left, we begin from that point in the next life. But whereas in the material activities, once we finish, means once we lose this life, or we go out of this body to the next body, whatever we have done previously in the previous life, nothing is counted materially. I always say, we start from ABCD, go to PhD, But in next life, again, we have to start from ABCD. And finally, Srila Prabhupada, the last paragraph, you can go through the shloka from Bhagavatam. The last paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is giving the entire shloka again, and he's explaining it again. See what he's saying. Material activities and the results end with the body. So again, he's comparing material activity with spiritual activity. So material activities and the results end with the body. But work in Krishna consciousness carries the person again to Krishna consciousness even after the loss of the body. Now, here, see in the shloka, so we have covered till here, Srila Prabhupada has covered till here. Now he says, on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So even if someone does little bhakti, so what happens? A little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So what is Prabhupada talking? What is this shloka talking about? What is this dangerous type of fear? In the last paragraph, Prabhupada is talking about that. He says, at least one is sure to have the chance in the next life of being born as a human being. So what is the fear? No, that is there. The greatest fear, losing the human form, is the greatest fear. One can become, or one can go to the lower species of life. And here we see very clearly Prabhupada is saying that at least one is sure to have a chance in the next life of being born as a human being. So little advancement on the path of bhakti, the greatest fear, one can overcome the greatest fear and one can still get this human form. And from 6th chapter Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada is giving this ashvasan. He's telling us that now don't worry. If you're practicing bhakti, two things will happen. Either you'll be born in the family of a great cultured brahmana or in a rich aristocratic family that will give one a further chance for elevation. So basically, wherever we have stopped our practice, we will continue from that particular point. So there is no loss or diminution. That is the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness. So in this way, we see, if you read the shloka by heart, memorize the shloka first, if we can, and then we go through word to word meaning, and then try to get the translation ourselves, and then go to the translation and see what Prabhupada is telling us in the translation. And then in the purport, we'll find each and every aspect of translation. Srila Prabhupada will be elaborating. And when we read like this, there is no question of forgetting. Some points, at least we'll remember when we chant that shloka which we have memorized. So any time now you will chant the shloka Neha Bikrama Nashosti. You'll surely remember the different points that Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here. So in this way, we can. So this is one of the ways. Some a humble attempt which I do in my day-to-day sadhana. Try to study Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam like this, which helps me to understand the shlokas better. So this is one aspect, and along with that, we are very much blessed that Srila Prabhupada has given the purports, and along with that, he has spoken. He has given lectures on the shlokas. He has spoken at various places. And please understand who is Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is the Senapati Bhakta of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the direct associate of Krishna. Can you imagine? When he speaks, and that audio is recorded, and when we hear that audio, that pure Vani enters our ears, goes through the heart, and our heart gets cleansed. Isn't that amazing? Till date, there is no previous Acharya, if you find, Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, and Nimbarkacharya, Vishnu Swami, any Acharya we take, the founder Acharyas of the Sampradaya, we will not find any audio recording. But we are so fortunate that our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, his audio recordings are available. So I would request Sudhir Gopal Prabhu and the team that at least one lecture, if the Gita course students can hear, in the entire week, that will be very, very beneficial, very, very beneficial. So in the entire week, at least one lecture, 30 minutes of lecture it will be. So if we can hear that carefully and see what Prabhupada is telling, and we will see that amazing points Prabhupada will make. You people glorify Shloka Day and videos, but to be very frank, I speak what Srila Prabhupada has given in purport, and I repeat what he has spoken. So you will find, when you hear Prabhupada lectures, you will hear the same points, which you get in these videos. So I request all of you to do these, different things which we spoke today. Scrutinizingly study Bhagavad Gita. We have been programmed, to align with the Western ideas, but now scrutinizingly studying Bhagavad Gita will help us to align with the Vedic culture and the Vedic text, especially the Life Manual Bhagavad Gita. Second, please memorize the shlokas, at least one shloka a week, at least one shloka. And once you get the taste, in a day you will do 2-3. And the third one is, please hear Prabhupada lectures. Now, if we hear Prabhupada's audio lectures, now I bet there will be a huge transformation in our lives, huge transformation. And we'll literally advance very, very fast in Krishna consciousness. So with this, I would like to pause my little talk. If you have any question, comments, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Karthikeya Prabhu. We understand that you have also another Gita course waiting for you to start. But in the meantime, just we have a couple of minutes left. Of course, we'll be also distributing our first chapter Sloka a day completion certificates to the devotees. But before that, I would like to hear your realizations from today's class, and also how you have been getting inspired through Prabhuji's classes. If you have any questions, comments, reflections. So I hear there are a lot of comments here in the chat box from so many devotees. Yes, like our Hema Mataji is talking about how it's a real nectar dipped with honey. Or Jayanti Mataji is talking about how so beautifully explained this slokas. Piyush Prabhu is really finding that how he's really finding it very practical. And yes, thank you, Susma Mataji. Mataji is really asking this question, Prabhuji, how to deal with this problem as per Gita, the things are happening in Dhaka or any other part of the world. The question from Susma Purohit Mataji.
Okay, so how to deal with the problem as per our Gita book. So in such cases, it's very important that we consult our superiors, because ISKCON as a whole, we have got a lot of senior devotees, and they give us the advice, because this is something which is related to the entire organization, right? So we have to ask from them, what can be done, in such situations, and they can tell us. Because in ISKCON, we have different ways to deal with such situations, and our superiors who are there, who are the leading ones, so they will actually help us, to so understand the situation in a right angle, in a right perspective, and how to deal with it. So I would suggest, better than I speaking, we will get some thoughts, from the superiors, that can be heard and that can be implemented. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, we have been seeing that so many devotees are really getting immensely benefited, not only understanding the philosophy, the principles, right, and the purity through which it is coming, and how it is practical as well. So thank you very much, and we are really grateful to you. And Deepak Prabhuji, can you just please quickly share, like, who are those devotees, who are those real fortunate devotees who have been hearing Sloka a day and have also participated in our quiz? Okay, so we'll just go through a couple of devotees and let's chant Hari Bol, with these devotees. So, and once again, Akanksha Limai Mataji, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Abha Mikal Mataji, Hari Krishna, Hari Bol. Abhinash Pradhan, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Victoria Ayer Mataji, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Amrita Patnaik Mataji, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Asutosh Pradhan Prabhu.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Okay, and we have BK Chaudhary Prabhu. Hari
Bol.
Hari Bol.
And okay. So yeah, there are so many devotees. Even Google is getting crashed. You know how so many devotees have been really participating in it. So yes, we can go through the devotees. I think thought we also missed our. Okay, Dr. Amresh Prabhu, Haribo,
Haribol.
Hari Bol, Hari
and
Bol, Guruji.
we have Hemu Mataji, Haribo,
Haribol.
Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol.
Guruji. Hari Bol.
Jayanti Narayan Mataji, Haribo.
Haribol.
Hari Bol.
Then we have our Kalpana Prasad Mataji,
Haribol.
Hari
Hari Bol,
Bol.
Guruji. Hari Bol.
Kushbu Mataji, Haribo,
Haribol.
Nath, Hare Krishna, Manjula Mataji, Radha
Haribol.
Haribo, Meenakshi Mataji, Radha
Haribol.
Hari Bol.
Okay, our Piyush Prabhu, Haribo,
Haribol.
Hari Bol.
attending from Pune, Punit Prabhu, Haribo,
Haribol.
Bol.
okay, Deepak Raj Prabhu, Haribo,
Haribol.
okay, and Rajni Mataji, Prabhuji,
Haribol.
Prabhu Rajni Mataji, husband, wife, they are sincerely hearing, reading nicely. Ranjulata Mataji, Haribo,
Haribol.
he's been attending so many programs for so many years. And we have Renu Divedi Mataji,
Haribol.
Hari Bol.
Mataji sisters and family, they have been very sincere. And Sakshi Mataji, okay, yes, her sister.
Haribol.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Okay, but brother, yes, well, yes, Sandeep Divedi, Haribol.
Haribol.
Reading, hearing, chanting regularly. Wonderful family. Santosh Prabhu, Haribo.
Haribol.
Again from Radha Gupta Deepak Prabhu's group. Our Saroja Mataji, Haribo.
Haribol.
Ram Sundar, Haribo.
Hari Bol.
Satyajit Prabhu.
Haribol.
I see a lot of devotees from Radha Gopinath. I want to hear from other groups as well. Silpa Ji Mataji, okay, Haribo.
Hari Bol.
Radha Gopinath. Okay. Next time we'll have a healthy competition. This group is having more. Okay, Sirisa Mataji, once again.
Haribol.
Hari Bol.
Haribo. Okay, Suma Vishwanath Mataji from our
Hari Bol.
Radha
Haribol.
Okay, Sunita Prakash Mataji.
Haribol.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
So many devotees have been really reading, hearing regularly. Susma Purohit Mataji.
Haribol.
Raipur. Haribo. Okay, so I think we have so many devotees. So in the meantime, right, once again, I would like to remind the devotees what Prabhuji said very beautifully. 3 things. Now, how we have to recite and learn at least 1 verse a week. I think if we can really start that one. So in addition to what we have been doing, daily reading Srila Prabhupada's purport, daily hearing sloka a day, and then weekly we'll just come and hear one Prabhupada's lecture and we'll recite 1 verse. So these 2 additional things will be shared with all of you, and we have to do this once in a week. Thank you, Karthikeya Prabhu, for sharing some more activity which will really make our life more blissful, through which we'll connect more to the Lord. And I'm sure there are some more certificates are there. Somehow we are not able to get it.
Prabhuji, I would like to take leave. I've got a class
Yes,
to give.
I understand.
Travel now.
I understand, Prabhuji.
Yes, sir.
Attending.
So just before I leave, I would like to tell all the participants that you all are very fortunate that you have got such a amazing course instructor, His Grace Sudhir Gopal Prabhu. So just cling on to him. Now don't leave his dhoti. Just cling on to him. And again, under him, there are amazing mentors who are all helping you all out to progress on the path of bhakti. I understand there are different devotees. Sarvanath Prabhu is one of the leaders. Then Anand Jayaraman Prabhu, Chandan Prabhu, and Deepak Prabhu. And they have been assisted by various wonderful devotees. So you all are very blessed to have these Bhakti Vriksha leaders, our mentors. So please take their guidance. And we all are a big family. So we all are there always to help. But always be clinged on and be connected strongly to these wonderful Bhakti Vriksha leaders. and this wonderful personality who is leading this entire show, His Grace Sudhir Gopal Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you all
Krishna.
very
Thank
much.
you very much, Karthikeya Prabhu. We look
Hare
forward to
Krishna.
your association very soon.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, Avinash Prabhu or Deepak Prabhu, can we have the rest of the names? So, I saw some of the devotees were missing, like Chaitanya Thakre Prabhu from our Radharaman. I saw his name as well. Okay, Vedam Bani Mataji, once again, Hari Bol from Radharaman. Okay, very good.
Hari Bol.
Amal Prabhu from Radha Govind Group. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Okay, there's nobody else remaining.
Hari Bol.
Srinivas Raju Prabhu from Radharaman. Hari Bol, yes, definitely. Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Okay. Yes. Yes. I think, Srinivas Raju Prabhu, I think we talked about. So we request all the devotees to please continue. And we are really thankful to you. We have been really inspiring each other, because once we do, not only we are benefiting ourselves, but with our effort, we are inspiring others. Whenever I hear from all the devotees how you have been progressing, how you have been inspired, it's always so wonderful to hear. All of you, have been really inspiration for all of us. Thank you very much. So if you have any questions or comments, we can take it during breakout session, or if you have anything, 1 or 2 questions on these activities that Prabhuji has requested all of us to do. Are you all ready to do it?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes,
We are all ready.
Are
We
you
are ready and we are very happy about the development. It will help us further.
Hare Krishna. Yes,
Hare
we'll be
Krishna.
just sending you now 1 sloka per week that you can remember.
Yeah, that will be better. If you send the sloka, that will be better.
Okay. And then I would also, maybe we can record and send it so that you can sing it, or you can, of course, have the sloka a day. We can get it from that. So, like either way. And it would be nice as well if all of you can send your recording as well to your respective leaders. Some you might not send it in the group. Maybe you can send it personally to your leaders, and the leader can really, or the facilitator, whomever you are connected, that they can also post it in some group, and we can really help. And usually, we have some test for even sloka as well. So what the devotees do, just for your information, if you would like, you can do that as well. So devotees, they send a video recording, but not with open eyes, closed eyes, right? Like we heard today, like Neha Bhikarma Nasosti Pratyavaya Navidyate Swalpamasya Karmasya Prayate Mahato Bhaya. Just like with closed eyes, and then you recite the sloka, and then you record it and send it. So then we really realize that, okay, not only you have been reciting that verse, but you have remembered that verse, and with proper modulation, with proper Sanskrit words and so on. So that is the best way that you can do, right? But if not, then at least just send the audio recording.
Prabhuji, you just let us know the which one we have to learn by heart, and
Yes.
then we will record and send it. You just
Yes.
let us know the verse number and all those things, Prabhuji.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
will send you the video one.
Yes, definitely. We will do that, Mataji. Every week, just like as we are sending the sloka a day. So similarly, we'll be sending the verse of the week that you have to remember.
Okay.
Recite everyone. And the same,
Okay,
similarly, we'll be also sharing you the Prabhupada's, one class that you have to hear during the week, as we heard from Karthikeya Prabhu. And it always very important for us to hear from Prabhupada, who has really transformed the entire world, transforming the millions of life through his Vani, through his words. Once we really take that within our heart, our life also can be really transformative. So thank you very much. So look forward to your continued enthusiasm to do more and more in this process of devotional service. So Prabhuji, can we start now chanting? We'll just hear the glories of holy name. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to deliver all of us through the chanting of the holy name, through the Sankirtan. So let's read quickly the glories of the holy name, and then we'll start the chanting. So this is a very beautiful section from Krishna's pastimes, where Krishna has now appeared in his holy name through the Hare Krishna movement to annihilate the demons and protect the devotees. So Vasudeva is saying to Lord Krishna, the baby Lord Krishna. This is from 3rd chapter of 10th canto. Oh my Lord, proprietor of all creation, you have now appeared in my house, desiring to protect this world. I am sure that you will kill all the armies that are moving all over the world under the leadership of politicians who are dressed as Kshatriya rulers, but who are factually demons. They must be killed by you for the protection of the innocent public. Krishna appears in this world for two purposes. Paritranaya sadhuna vinasaya chaduskritam, 4.8 Bhagavad Gita, to protect the innocent religious devotees of the Lord and to annihilate all the uneducated, uncultured asuras who unnecessarily bark like dogs and fight among themselves for political power. It is said, Kali Kale Namarupe Krishna Avatar. The Hare Krishna movement is also an incarnation of Krishna in the form of the holy name, Namarupe. Every one of us who is actually afraid of the demoniac rulers and politicians must welcome this incarnation of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then we will surely be protected from the harassment of demoniac rulers. At the present moment, these rulers are so powerful that by hook or by crook, they capture the highest posts in government and harass countless numbers of people on the plea of national security or some emergency. Then again, one asura defeats another asura, but the public continues to suffer. Therefore, the entire world is in a precarious condition, and the only hope is this Hare Krishna movement. Prabhupada also wrote this during this 1970s, where there was emergency and so many, war and so many chaotic things were happening. And now also we see that all over the world, so much chaos. And the only hope Prabhupada is giving us through the chanting of the holy name, through which that heart can be really transformed. Let's take shelter of Panchatattva and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakti. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna
Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakti
Hare Krishna, Patita Pavana, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai.